Greetings, my dear friends. Well, and enemies, as always, hello, including those who oppose us, like enemy terrorists. I'm currently in Paris, in a very beautiful place that is not in the part that is occupied by blacks and Islamic terrorists, but in the still practically unoccupied part of Paris, where there are memories of authentic Europe. And of course, here in this beauty, I would not want to touch not only tragic, but even serious subjects, but unfortunately, I am compelled to do so. Because currently, in the present moment, the unfolding of a significant tragedy is taking place right before our eyes. Tragedies primarily of the Israeli people, but this is also our shared tragedy of Russians, French, Germans, anyone, Belgians, English individuals, due to the prevalence of Islamic terrorism, which has been the main tragedy in recent years, decades, and even centuries in general. And I am speaking about it, issuing a warning consistently without fail, each and every year without exception, since childhood, since school. And here, in Paris, there have been so many Islamist terrorist attacks. This is an absolute disaster. They were in Nice. Islamic terrorist attacks have occurred in Nice, St. Petersburg, New York, London, Stockholm, Berlin, Stuttgart, Vienna, in all cities worldwide, and not only in developed countries, but even, in underdeveloped Africa, there is also an enormous number of Islamist terrorist attacks. Just about it, regrettably, they do not talk much. Islamists assault individuals on a daily basis, and it is precisely what the Islamists attack and kill people in Paris, in Moscow, and around the world, proves that no talks, all this chatter about some kind of baseless and groundless, the territory of a certain Palestine, which does not exist. There is no such state as Palestine. Palestine is a criminal organization that behaves like a criminal organization, whose primary objective of existence is to cause harm to people, including Israelis. There are no other objectives for existence, neither science nor art nor progress in civilization can serve as purposes. They do not declare or fulfill any objectives. The primary objective is to eliminate individuals. What kind of organization is this? They want to become a country and will never become a country. This is a gang cell, similar to a gang organization known as Iran, which was seized by religious terrorists during the years 1978-1979. And it was necessary then to release Iran, the Iranian people, from these savages to the world community. The task was not completed. And the current tragedy of the world is that the difference between the Iranian people and Israel lies in the fact that in 1978-1979, the international community gave permission for the entire country to be taken over by Islamist terrorists, and now, since Iran is a state that officially supports terrorism, this is allowed to happen. Monstrous terrorist attacks took place in Israel involving hostage-taking, the brutal murder of people, the heinous murder of children, and the desecration of corpses. This implies that they are not merely animals. Animals do not exhibit such behavior patterns. These are animals that are sick with an ancient religious terrorist delusion, which must be banned worldwide to ensure global safety and peace. It is derived from it. It is due to this reason, the primary reason, that everything happens. Because primates are born and die. They are born and die. But what remains? There remains terrorist nonsense. Here it is. I repeat, there is no need to lie about some territories and the liberation of a certain Palestine. They, terrorists, do not kill people for this. Because here in Paris, they too, Islamist terrorists, were killing and continue to kill. Here he beheaded a French teacher, a savage, a beast, a bastard, allowed into decent society, into a decent country, and he is ungrateful. Do you have territories here, comrades Palestinians, in France or in Moscow? You shout the same slogans in Moscow and attack Russian people, people of all nationalities, like in St. Petersburg, like in Stockholm. There are also your territories, but you, comrades terrorists, see them as your territories, because your task is to capture the world. And I am informing you at this moment, to my viewers in my capacity as a scientist, as a historian, This is an utter and complete disaster, and we all need to fully understand that. And in Russia, just like in France, Russia will have the exact same catastrophe as in Israel now, because we also let in those who hate us and harbor deep animosity towards our nation, and those who are engaged in conflict with individuals of good character. Do you comprehend? Until you all understand this, nothing good will happen. And of course now, according to my scientific belief, Israel must not just carry out some operation there, but destroy the enclaves of terrorists who officially declare that they will only give birth to destroy people. No other goals. Ponder planet. This is an amazing depiction of nature, artistic expression, the freedom to think, the freedom to feel, love, aesthetics, history, incredible historical figures. They are truly amazing, fascinating, and inspiring. Historical fates, that is all, regardless. Nourishment, intimacy, atmosphere, painting, music, anything you want. Life is amazing. They, bastards, religious terrorists, are not interested in this. They are only interested in the destruction of people and death for the sake of nonsense. You will never grasp them. I mean average, honorable folks. You will never see eye to eye with them. It is impossible to negotiate with a terrorist and with someone who is sick with a religious terrorist ideology. This is an unwell creature, and it gives birth intentionally in order to create incubator-like, identical, insane, psycho-mad killing machines. This is a fact. This is what we have had for centuries, and what is happening now in Israel. Therefore, I repeat that today all decent people of the world and all decent countries, worthy countries, civilized ones, are on the side of Israel because it is a victim nation, a nation that is now bringing civilization to the region, primarily science, human rights, modern legislation, and so on. And once more, do not allow yourself to be deceived. This is not pertaining to any territories of Palestine or any freedom regarding territories. Because in Egypt on the day before, a despicable, vile, criminal, inhuman Egyptian police officer, who was also an Islamist terrorist, brutally murdered 2 innocent Israelis. In Egypt, there is a policeman. What does this mean? This indicates that this animal is in pain. Ancient religious nonsense. And it thinks of itself not as a policeman, not as a lawman, not as an Egyptian, not as a human, not as a man of the world. He perceives himself as a terrorist who is obligated to eliminate those individuals who are designated in archaic gibberish. You all must understand this. This is the main tragedy of modernity. I have been talking about it for many, many years. To this, obviously, is added a terrible Asian woman. We obtained the Chinese virus that was misplaced in the Wuhan laboratory. Millions of individuals perished. Why was he misplaced? Because there is additionally a totalitarian regime. In a totalitarian society, there will always be disasters, whether planned or unpredictable. Due to lack of press freedom, underdeveloped science, and absence of civilization, I truly don't desire to be in Paris. I want to smile here. I want to discuss only light, pleasant topics with you. But this is necessary. I am attempting to open your eyes and explain, and you will not sit still. Nowhere are you able to sit down. In Paris, you cannot be calm in numerous areas, let alone peaceful. In some areas, police no longer appear. How in suburb of Saint-Denis in North? I'm here now. Adjacent to the physical square, located on Vendôme Square, there is no place to go. This is the Tuileries Garden, the Louvre Place Vendôme, where the great column of the Russian Grand Army is located. She is getting married. Napoleon the Great. And I observe, a procession of police cars drives by from the restaurant, so to speak, catching my attention with their flashing lights and blaring sirens as they swiftly make their way through the streets. 12 pieces. They are rushing somewhere, apparently exactly towards the north. Naturally, savages live in the north. Evidently, there exist certain pleasures for barbarians in the act of murdering respectable individuals. And I am sitting in a cafe, planning to access the French internet. There are currently no messages regarding the disorder or joys of Paris. No, I'm calling 2 French people. I think maybe I don't know how to search for information on the internet. Guys, please check. Is there something happening in Paris? Perhaps this is not related to the activities of Islamist terrorists. They do not call it that. They conceal the terrorist attacks. Perhaps a meeting, joy, gathering. As you wish, they answered no. 10 minutes of searching. There is nothing in Paris that does not exist. 12 police cars drove in emergency mode, and the press is not reporting anything, what is officially prohibited here. They are even forbidden to say that Notre Dame de Paris was burned by Islamists. They are forbidden to do this. My friend from the French Republic's Ministry of Internal Affairs personally told me this. What is not allowed? Just information that is completely blocked. I mean it, you know. Coming, there's reinforcement. By the way, yes, here's the backup. They put useless cops standing with firearms. Absolutely meaningless. If some bastard savage occupant goes to cut, you can't put a policeman at every building, at every person. This is pointless. Don't allow it. You can't let savages in. So here it is, approaching the police. They are valued at 2. I inquire very cautiously. Vehicles passed through this area in the direction of the north. What is it connected with? He turns away immediately. No, everything is fine. Everything is fine. I'm saying you were not there yesterday. And you stand. Something happened? No, everything is fine. And then I, still a Francovite, and I know not only the language, but also mimicry, gesture. I caught a glance like that. So, in its own way. Listen, well, I like my, well, still maybe somewhere something. And it is incredibly shameful, extremely scary when a police officer is armed with a powerful machine gun. That's all truly cowardly. Here I am, he is present. And he averts his gaze like that, and I nibble on my lip. Reports indicate that indeed in the northern region they are somewhat content. So a few individuals are happy and have dispatched additional personnel to that location. That is, the Lebanese press is prohibited from talking about it. The press is silent about the fact that terrorists inside Paris support terrorist attacks. The policeman is afraid to talk about it, about what is happening on the street openly, which means to those around him. 12 police cars break the silence, disrupt the order, and rush. These are taxpayers' money. These are nerves and so on. This is even before the terrorist attack. Then there will be terrorist attacks, rushing. In all civilized countries, the police are being strengthened with possible terrorist attacks. Good news from Marseille. The Faculty of Economics at the University of Marseille closed due to safety concerns and inability to ensure safety. There are occupants inside and nearby who are referred to by different names, including savages. They trade drugs, they cut, they rape, and so on. That is, Europe is effectively occupied. Why am I stating we should not be doing God knows what in Slavic regions? We must unite, and here is all the energy that exists in Eastern Europe, which is no longer present. Here is menopause, here everything is very beautiful, but this is former beauty. This is beauty for an art historian. And for dreamers, for poets, so Eastern Europe must be united, come together and direct its forces, energy, these muscles of the world to expel the occupiers from Western Europe. Due to the contributions of Western Europe, civilization, universities, culture, peace, and maternal influence have been bestowed upon Eastern Europe. And now, so to speak, all of this needs to be returned as assistance. But I reiterate once again, your primary mistake, those who are currently listening to me, you believe that you have sufficient time. Insufficient for a lifetime, insufficient for a year. Not enough for a year. And you think this is happening far away, in Israel, Paris, London. Not like that. Happens worldwide. In Russia too. In August, in Moscow and St. Petersburg, we've had and will have Islamist terrorist attacks. But in August, I wrote, in the center, they came out with the same cries as they are cutting people in Israel now. They screamed. A group of bastards, savages, degenerates was shouting in Moscow. The police did nothing. If one free person, a university professor, came out and spoke about political freedoms, he would be twisted in 5 seconds. Savages with no right to be in Moscow or Russia can do as they please in the center or elsewhere. The outcome is uncertain. This is the reality, and it is regrettable. This is a disgrace, because they need to be driven out of the country as potential Islamist terrorists. How from France, from Russia, from other countries, and elucidate this to all around, to all and to each individual. To dumb and non-dumb relatives with whom you study, with whom you work, on the streets, write about it everywhere. If these are left-wing social networks, criminal left-wing fascism, deceive, trick, put 2 letters, 3 first at the end, ellipsis at the end, last, etc. Cunning ones, options, turns out here behind enemy lines. Leftists occupied us, forced to carry out activities in enemy's rear, as in the enemy's territory. Because the press, universities here in the West, social networks and so on are captured by the leftists. This is pure left-wing fascism. What is happening today is a consequence of left-wing fascism. And the next question to the fascists, left fascists, and Nazis in the European Commission and other wonderful organizations. How do Nazis treat Russians? Any collective responsibility for you there? And why don't you have collective responsibility for countries of terrorists? Iran is a terrorist country, and Palestinians in the so-called autonomy are terrorists. Why not for them? And those who back them, and there are millions and tens of millions, at the state level, at the clerical level, confessional, why do not you have collective responsibility for them? You're being cut in Paris, London, Nice, Berlin, New York. They're cutting in the same way. The same ones. Why no collective responsibility for them, only for white Russians? Here you are, with your Nazism and fascism in the European Commission. Levachk, you support all the terrible dictatorial regimes. Same here. Yes, decent people will decide. Well, but if there are left-wing scoundrels, then they're against Russians. So yes, we must support what's happening, the policy that's happening. So perhaps there is a certain degree of truth in it. Here, the extent of your error, comrades who are left behind. These are the main theses that I have stated on numerous occasions, a total of 3,000 times. And it's just impossible. But you, my dear ones, including the good ones, you have an illness. You solely perceive the videos, messages, and so forth that were released today, not even yesterday or a week ago, merely today. I said everything a year ago, 5 to 10 years ago. I had an article in Kommersant, not only about the Third Reich, which, I quote, was remembered, yes, in 2003, but in 2004 I had an article about how barbarians destroyed Rome because they were already behind the civilization. And I was talking about Islamist terrorist attacks then. It was, well, the year 2004, it was just now, October 2023, it was almost 20 years ago. And how well it's preserved, 20 years ago. And the brains, as they were dull, remained so for those who read. I said everything. I cautioned all people about all things. To what extent are you incapable of comprehending? So listen to my videos on all topics. I have never been wrong in my predictions. Here is all this scum info gypsies, can't listen, liars and scoundrels, and were wrong about everything. In Rus-Ukraine conflict, in Lebanese forecasts, about Europe, about Islamists, they were wrong. Not analysts, they're jerks. And they got you used to, hooked you on the needle, that you only listen to today's videos. Oh, what occurred there? And no incidents occurred to me? I provided a warning about all of this. I stated all of this. Well, here it is. So the countries that supported Palestinian terrorists should immediately sever relations with them. How, for example, Iran? These are terrorist countries. And here there can be no two opinions. In my opinion, supporting terrorists is a crime that needs to be immediately realized. It is crucial to recognize the common problem of ancient nonsense that requires prohibition. Israel possesses strength and unity. It has an immediate, highly extensive and powerful reaction. No discussions. You will not achieve any results. There will be an even larger number of lifeless bodies. The most basic operation that can be conducted is the destruction of enclaves where terrorists are located. This is a malignant tumor that can only be surgically removed. And do not think and do not hope for any United Nations involvement there, someone else. Rely solely on your own strength and interact with savages using the exact methods that they can comprehend and respond to effectively. By primitive methods, but of course with modern weapons, People can't be wasted on savages. This is complete madness. This is an incredibly unfair exchange. Such unethical business practices are not to be tolerated or accepted under any circumstances. Well, so, greetings to you from the beautiful city of Paris. We should not be discouraged because our enemies, the despicable bastards who thrive on death, must witness how decent people, genuine people, embrace and savor life, how exquisitely they live and rejoice in their happiness. And they create, they construct, but these bastards are incapable of creating anything. And they're annoyed by this. They're terribly disabled, scary. Who can support terrorists? Only individuals who possess the same impaired criminal mindset and mentality. Who cannot experience the joys of life, who is not granted opportunities, who is unattractive, lacking in talent, unrealized, who is a loser, who is a failure. And here the losers endorse the bandit, support the terrorists, robbers, thieves, Bolshevik coups, and other similar acts of violence. Without hesitation, you can promptly apply a stamp to the visage of a primate if he supports terrorists, or religiously schizophrenic terrorists or bandits, or extreme leftists with unwavering conviction and resolute determination. Simply place a stamp on the surface. It is a damaged piece of inferior quality. Express sadness. To good people, my dear friends, subscribers, viewers, tenderness, love, health, and hold on to each other for meanings, for this nature, for this architecture, and cherish these connections. I'm thinking right now, I recorded it very well, but it's in Russian. Well, okay, let's translate into English, into French, into Italian, something I can do, something they will help with in German. But what's the point? This is, excuse me, anonymity. Do you need to translate this into Arabic? I think, what if I wrote, well, they would write Cyrillic in Arabic there, I would do the same, only not in this one. The European physiognomy is characterized by these gestures. I am not familiar with the specific auditory experience, but it would be the identical video that presents a comprehensive overview of all this information. This should be. Here it is. That is, without a doubt, absolutely the same content. About. This is all repulsive. I believe we should write on their behalf for that specific group of people. Why? Because let me tell you this, indeed among these pseudo-liberals of ours, they have a colossal mistake that cannot be overlooked under any circumstances. There are many fools present, because all of them engage in it internally, within your organization, trying to enlighten something. And how can they to each other? Is this journalism? We need to go out to the people. We need to speak in the language of the people. The same applies to me currently. I explained it like that. It's beautiful, intelligent, but who is it for? This is mostly for decent people. A number of freaks will encounter, they will shout, object, become insane. People with schizophrenia and similar conditions. However, it is crucial to target the audience, specifically the Arabic-speaking audience, in order to achieve success, in my opinion. We had an Arabist, Zhirinovsky. I am in favor of such a degree that I am passionately enthusiastic about it. But look, they will write to me, so I will have it on such a schedule, so I will report it. In general, Ponasenko in Arabic is already brilliant. It will be amazing in general. It will undoubtedly be a genius performance. By the way, Al Jazeera interviewed me several times. They're, sometimes, in my opinion, even freer than in our pseudo-press. But one way or another. Here I just thought, dear comrades, maybe there are Arabic language specialists among you. You will translate all of this. The translation of subscripts is definitely not the same. In this particular situation, we require a physiognomic and handmade system, and specifically for the Arabic language. I would, of course, have turned it all inside out, taken it upon myself, put on a curtain there, put on a carpet on myself, that's all. And it would have been in the memory of Lawrence of Arabia. In fact, what am I not Lawrence of Arabia? We had a lot in common, and Spider, Maturmus, Lawrence Arab. If you can't fight, then you have to lead. This is a problem. People are idiots. I'll do all this.